Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boring Enterprise Nerds Nerdletter Talk, issue number 46 billion and seven, where my amazing and awesome co-host Yelena and myself, Paul, go through and we just talk about what we're going to be writing about. And a lot of times we talk about things that we don't write about, or we write about things that we didn't talk about, or it goes all kinds of crazy ways, but we try to think forward and talk through this stuff. And I don't know, what's been helpful for me a lot is that sometimes these conversations completely change the way that I'm going to write
Yeah,
about the thing anyway. So it's like, even if there's only like seven people who ever sees this this video, it's just really helpful to do that anyway. And we record
yeah,
them. So please watch, subscribe, etc. But I'm jabbering on too much. Yelena, please hit us with your thoughts for the universe this
awesome.
this issue.
Absolutely. All right. So we always have at least three stories per issue, and this time I happen to have lots of bonus content. So some of it, I don't know. I have a couple of subjects that I don't know if which one of them I will write about, and I also have an extra that I think maybe future story or maybe not, but I just wanted to share it here quickly on the video for all of our seven viewers, whoever you are. So, all right. So, without further ado, the first story subject is this very interesting article from UX Design Lab and Pavel Buchenwald's. It is about the cutting edge subject of AI. Of course, everything is about AI. What I liked about this article, it's pretty short, it's to the point, and it gives specific advice to the UX designers. But I think a lot of it, if not all, will also apply to software developers and anyone actually wondering, oh my gosh, like is AI gonna take our jobs sometime soon? So Pavel here has some solid advice for people who are concerned about that. I really like how you can see very short, kind of punchy sentences, really well written. Says, and I totally agree, UX, and again, you can take UX, replace it with software development, anything else is not going anywhere, but it is changing. So I think it's very good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So our jobs may not be taken, but our jobs certainly is not going to be the same as they
It
were
might
20
they might
years
not be
ago.
recognizable as what we did 3
Yeah,
years ago
yeah,
very soon. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So some good observations here. And so this is where Pavels goes into breaking down where what makes advantage of humans. So machines do not really have good critical thinking, and I again completely agree about software development as well. This is the part which I find kind of alarming when people talk about, oh, AI is just going to do that. And I've written about this before, because AI is not going to ask you like, why are you doing this? Is there a better way to do this? And this, I think, is very important element of everything, of UX, of software development, of everything that we do in technology. Also, narrative thinking is not something I thought about before, but I think it's an interesting way to look at it. And yeah, empathy. Obviously, AI just doesn't have much of it, and so he summarizes really well what he calls it new stack of UX survival skills. Again, might as well be kind of AI survival skills for everyone. So really, really good summary, really sharp article. Pretty much, I think my story could be pretty much, oh, hey, I found a nice article. You just go and read it, and mentally replace UX with whatever is close to your heart. So
We should really be asking people to write things we disagree with more often and then
yeah.
yell at them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so really good story here. Then next one, it's something that I wanted to write about for a while, and it was just a happy coincidence that there was a NDC conference in London. I think it was back in January, but at least this year, I do use a lot of NDC videos in my stories because they're just very good. They are
Mm, mm.
for all the developers, and we have we talked about this a lot. We wrote about this a lot. It's really important for SAP developers to keep track of what's going on in development in general. and to learn from whatever is happening outside of SAP world because development,
Because you really can think of
yeah,
it as like the outside world,
yeah,
right? It's like so, like, because I've been working with a lot of people who are kind of coming in from the outside into SAP development and like making tools in that realm. And it is like, there's nothing like seeing somebody who is like technically sharp as a
mhm,
person run into like the SAP universe and vice versa, right? Like I think people on either side of the fence don't realize just how weird the other side of the fence can be, and yet all of the same things apply,
yeah,
right? All the same concepts apply. They just kind of look goofy if you're looking across the fence at the other
yeah,
side.
yeah. Yeah, so this is really good presentation about exception handling. And obviously the code that is shared here is not going to apply completely to the SAP world. And a lot of exceptions Matt talks about here, they also simply don't happen in SAP.
Mm.
I mean, we work within certain environment. However, a lot of what he said, it resonated with me personally. And I do think that in general, exceptions are and classics, exception classes, etc., is a concept that is hugely overlooked, and it's almost like some SAP developers are genuinely scared of it, but not because it's just scary, but I think it's um, there was a there was a blog post on SAP community a long time ago that had a title "Unknown Thus Unloved," and that blog post was about the classes for the email sending of the emails. But I think this could be easily made into series of blog posts about different concepts because this unknown thus unloved, I think, applies to a lot of concepts within SAP and within ABAP development. So in this case, I think exceptions, it's a good concept, and when you realize what they can do, it's like a light bulb moment. You can immediately see how you can apply them very effectively in many situations. But the problem is with this initial understanding, and this is where SAP did not do a good job because for some reason they think that exceptions should be used in certain way in SAP. And when I looked at it, it's like, well, it doesn't make much sense. That doesn't seem to be very useful or
Hmm. Hmm.
very convenient to use. And so I also kind of, I don't really like it. So I don't think like I want to use this. But then I saw, and I think it was maybe even code of ABAP Git or ABAP XLSX, but one of those open source projects where you can actually look at the ABAP code and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And there I saw someone using exceptions in completely different way. And I'm talking about exception classes here.
Hmm.
So that was a light bulb moment for me. It's like, oh, you can also do that. So, but for some reason, and I still don't understand that you will not find SAP really talking about this, writing about this. They're like, yeah, this is like example of exception class, and that is totally wrong example. And this is where unknown, thus unloved, um, I think element comes from, where people like maybe look at SAP documentation and even like classical SAP books, etc., and they thinking that these exception classes are just in ABAP, while they're actually much more powerful than they may appear. So yeah, so sorry, long story short, long conversation is going to be a short story. So learn about different use of exceptions and start using them appropriately.
Just
Um,
just start using them at all. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, just dig into that. But the way SAP presents them is not the way to use it. That's kind
Hmm.
of the main message, and that's where the problem comes from. While I am on the NDC subject, so I saw there are a lot of videos from the same conference. I don't think I'm going to write about it, but this is kind of, I think, up your alley, Paul.
Hmm.
I don't know if you might want to, I don't know, opine
Um,
about this or
then
not.
this might be a good one for me to swap out one of mine anyway, so that's good.
Yeah. So I just mentioning here. So there were two keynotes. They were about AI. So this one, it's called Past, Present, Future of AI, and this is for application developers. And Steve, in this keynote, I think tries to explain in the language that developers can understand well, how AI and I mean LLM, generative AI, how that works, and where it came from. And I actually liked his past part of the presentation, and he spent quite a big chunk, like 20 minutes, I think, talking about just the past. But it really helped me to connect some of the dots that I think I was missing before, because he goes like way in the past, like in 50s, 60s, and just kind of walks down the memory lane, history lane, and shows how all of that led to what we have currently, and just peeks a little bit into future. There isn't much about the future, but I thought this was a really good keynote, really explaining well stuff. There was also second keynote, which um,
Oh, I love
I
Scott.
like, and I love Scott, but I too, there is that SNL segment, like the guy's friends from the past, where two characters, they used to do this with two characters, so it's like as if talking with friends of some person, and they start with like, "Oh yes, this guy is awesome," but then they're like, "Also,
Oh, that's right.
I have to say,"
Yeah, yeah.
and then they like whisper like some negative stuff. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh, he's
yeah.
kind of a jerk." So I do have to say, I I would say I did like the Scott's presentation, but and I think maybe the whoever is in charge of this conference, I do think maybe they should just edit their videos better, to be honest, because there was a
Mm,
big part of this keynote where Scott was talking about like Nando fast food chain, and I was just completely lost. And at first I thought that it's like um Chekhov's gun, like this concept where if there is a gun at some point at the stage,
yeah.
it should shoot
You should
some
shoot
point.
something. Yeah.
And I was just kind of waiting for it's like, is this gonna be used like somewhere? Is this gonna be like nice like rap, or is this gonna be reference? But no, it's like he like talked about it for like good 10 minutes, and I had no idea what this was about, some kind of chicken fast food in South Africa. I was just totally lost. So I think honestly that should have been just edited and saved 10 minutes and a lot of confusion from that.
Mm,
I also have to say, if I had to summarize this keynote, there is just a touch of condescension, I think. And this is maybe what Scott and people like him maybe suffer a little bit when you start talking a lot to people. You kind of you kind of rise up, and some of it is justified because he really clearly knowledgeable, clearly very well, regarded in his community. But you kind of need to keep that in check, I think, a little bit.
mm.
So Scott, like, take it down a notch, bro, like maybe for us like simple peasants. But overall, this was really good presentation, and I think that first 10 minutes aside was just a good example of how to present and stuff. So if anyone is looking, for example, how to do great keynote, I think this will be the one. So again, Paul, might be something for you to look into, but some good points there. All right. So and then so subject galore this time. So speaking speaking of condensation and people being kind of way high on top of their ivory towers. So third subject I vaguely define as like C executives and LinkedIn madness. And it's not something that I typically write about, but I think there is just the subject reached some boiling point beyond which I feel like I should write about this finally. And we all know like we what's going on with social media, etc. And LinkedIn has become main source of information.
I hate
I
it.
I do hate it, but I do spend quite a bit of time
I
there.
know. What a like boy, just like how in the world can I reconcile how much I hate it with how useful it
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
Like I just can't. Ugh,
Yeah,
I hate
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, absolutely. So that's a source for a lot of SAP information, lots of
Yeah.
nice recommendation, and just keeping in touch with SAP professionals. But once in a while, you stumble upon the post and you're like, what the fuck is going on with these people? And there is actually the whole sub on Reddit, which is called LinkedIn Lunatics. And this
Mm,
is not quite that type of material, but it's kind of getting there.
mm,
And the reason I picked up on this because so Jen Bun is for those who are younger. I don't know, Paul, if you remember, Bun was at some point kind of an SAP competitor. So there was like the whole bun system, and I have no idea it's actually named like after this guy. So I
okay.
mean that's a major points for being like narcissist. I guess like make your name your software after yourself. Nice job, Jen. But very very long time ago. I think like late 90s. That was a heyday probably for that. Um, but Jen is back back again and now kind of circulating again in ERP space and just posting out there. And honestly, first of all, this post is just you read it and it's like, are you grappling with an aging
Bah.
burden? If you're in today's rapidly evolving, like,
Warning, warning. ChatGPT. Ugh.
oh yeah, there is more ChatGPT because there is Delph. There you go. This paper Delph.
Oh,
So
Christ.
this is
God.
like, what are you doing, Jen? And it's like, so okay, so this is a meaty point that I want to get to. Um, excited to share new white paper, navigating the ERP crossroads,
Look at that
decoupling for
title.
decoupling for agility and innovation in the age of AI. I'm
You
like,
know, you might as well just say, I have nothing to say.
oh my
I don't.
goodness.
Ugh.
It's like how many buzzwords can we pack into this title? And the answer is yes. It's 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 like absolute there's like there is zero desire I have to ever open this white
Oh,
paper,
God.
much less give away my email for the opportunity to download it. Based on expert insights of being pioneer in the ERP space, like shut the hell up, Jen. Like
Oh.
what pioneer? I mean, Jesus Christ, you kind of you lost competition. I mean,
Mm.
you're not the one who who talk about this, but I mean, it was great at one point, I guess. So credit due. But this paper delves into blah 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 blah, and this is kind of a kill shot. Decoupling legacy ERP and integrating it with agentic AI driven microservices, and it's like I mean, Jen, like microservices is like so 2000 and late at this point. Nobody even
Man,
talks about microservices anymore. It's not even buzzword. It's it's like uh, I don't know. And
I don't know. Have you read the paper yet?
there is there is no way you would have to like that Robot Chicken cartoon series, like animated
Yeah.
series, where they sit the chicken down and they like strap him in and like open
Yeah.
his eyes like with this machine. You would have to do that to me to read that newspaper. I would never read this voluntarily. But this is so the point is not just to make fun of Jen here, even though this is clearly delusional post, but I do think there is a general trend, and I have another post just to show where people in like C-suite, like in executive sphere there, they just so far, I think, like lost from the actual technology and so far removed from people actually doing the work that I think it actually becoming dangerous. And it's not just in form of Jen like going out and posting like ChatGPT generated nonsense on LinkedIn. That's not the worst case scenario, but I think when it comes to the actual selling of technology and the actual promotion of technology, I think, and that I don't know how many executives are watching this or reading us, but guys, you sometimes you need to kind of step down from your like ivory tower and just go talk to people who work
My God.
for you and just find from them like, hey, what's going on, like what's going on in your space, and just talk to them, just ask them questions, listen to them, talk to them, and yeah, just kind of I don't know because something needs to be done. If I read again this kind of slope, uh, it's
Really?
not a good look for Jen or anyone.
Yeah.
It's just awful. And second post is this is one of those stupid LinkedIn suggested crap. And this guy is just the level of delusion here is just bizarre. It's just like CTO is equal software architect plus product manager. Not really. These are all different jobs. CTO is one job, software architect one job, product manager another job. Having background in these two helpful. It's not like combination of two.
Mm.
And then having like best ways to start your own company. But this is typical, just nonsense. But then most devs developers aren't used to focusing on what drives revenue because it's not their job, Matt.
Hmm.
It's your job to focus on what drives revenue. So again, the level of delusion here is just so alarming that I don't even know what to say. But this just shows this is what actually goes on in the heads of those people. And that to me is very dangerous. And um, I I just want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to good executives and m- not surprisingly maybe, but I think Hasso-Plattner was probably one of the good ones because think about combination of technical knowledge, charisma, leadership, being able to speak clearly and explain stuff. His courses for Hasso-Plattner's Institute are like no, they're excellent, excellent teaching. So that kind of executive that I think, and I don't want to suck up to Hasselblatt, we have no reason to do that. But
Like he's off on a yacht anyway. He doesn't
yeah,
care.
exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. But Papa Bear, I mean, that's a good example. So more people should be strive to be like Hasso and less like Matt here, who's like clearly
You know what?
delusional.
You know what? LinkedIn. This just came to me.
Mm,
Is that like so at parties, at conferences, at social things, whatever. Like small talk drives me insane. I
yeah,
hate small talk. And LinkedIn is like the professional equivalent of like, how's the weather? I'm doing good. How are your kids? Like,
yeah,
it's the equivalent of like social sort of contract stuff that conveys no information.
yeah,
And all it does is like signal that I'm trying to be the biggest ape among the apes in some way,
yeah,
right? And like, I don't know, I like you just pointed out for you just shined a light in the corner of my head that's like, oh, that's why I hate it, is because I hate small talk.
yeah,
And LinkedIn is professional small talk.
yeah, yeah, for
Ugh,
sure. Yeah, like
God.
corporate Facebook, pretty much.
Yeah, God. Okay, okay.
Ah, all right. So we need some palate cleansers now.
Yeah,
So
let's go to a positive. Here's I have I have two out of three of mine are positive things. So, UI5 Con
ooh,
coming
nice.
up in July, which I think wasn't it last time? Didn't this coincide with the ABAP Conf
It was with recap, I
with
think,
recap?
which is
Oh,
kept.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
okay, okay.
ABAP
Um,
Conf is June.
okay, okay. Um, I wanna shout out, and I'm gonna put it in the newsletter and talk about it. Like UI5 has been a pretty damn good success for SAP from a technology standpoint. Like from pretty much 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than 10 years ago until now, like it's found its way into like more or less everything that SAP produces like UI wise, right? It's truly the common thing. It has found its way into being the thing that SAP devs can actually kind of like get a handle on. The outgrowth of it into like a Fiori Elements kind of thing has been very successful in terms of just like how you can quickly get like 99% of business apps are like make a change on this table, click save, on to the next one. And UI5 and Fiori Elements especially are like really good at that. And then UI5 is great at the like, okay, but what about the other 1% where I got to do other kooky, crazy stuff? Good, drop into UI5 and make it happen, right? Like
Yeah.
all this stuff has been so great. The UI5 world has been so great at like advancing the story here. There's relatively new in the last, well, in the last couple of years, which is new in enterprise world, is the TypeScript integration and stuff like that. So they're just bringing in more and more people from the outside world. If you pay attention to what like UI5 type people say on socials and in whatever, you can very much tell that like because we talked about how SAP can seem like a different universe to people from the outside world. UI5 and then also CAP too, if for people who are doing that. I don't know who's actually doing CAP on a big scale, but CAP is a thing too,
Yeah.
somewhere probably.
So,
Um, not in the US, but somewhere. Um, the like those things are opening the doors for the non-SAP dorks to kind of get in the room a little bit and make a difference. And UI5 obviously is the bigger one that's more successful at that. Like there's a lot of people who, haven't put in the time or effort to like, make it necessarily a bridge from their ABAP skills to UI5, and that's okay. You don't have to. You can have plenty of back not doing that. But like people from both sides can meet in the middle in somewhere in something like UI5 and that there is a community driving things, that there are these this that there are like proposals out here. There's a jury of names that many people know who are like deciding on speakers. There's always cool stuff that goes on with these things. I go see when they actually publish these things, I go look at what was talked about, and it's cool stuff. And the thing is moving forward. And you don't always feel that inside the SAP world. You don't always feel the forward movement. But in
yeah.
UI5, you feel the forward movement. So I want to just give like shout outs and praise to the UI5 folks and promote, hey, submit a thing or just go to the conference if you're in, well, let's see, I think it's in Rotterdam, they said, maybe. Uh, I might be hallucinating that. Well, it's somewhere in Europe.
Somewhere in
So
Europe.
somewhere in Europe, go. If you're in Europe, go there. If you're not in Europe, fly to Europe and go there.
And
Anyway, UI5
I
Con.
just want to point out how nice that they have the jury pictures, so you can actually see the people who are evaluating the submissions. Because this is actually first time I'm seeing this for a conference, and they have
Yeah.
submitted many presentations before. You never see this. You never know who is actually looking at it. Sometimes I happen to know just by coincidence because after the fact someone told me, "Oh yeah, like I was on the board to make decision."
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're like you submit and it's like then some kind of nebulous, I don't know,
Yeah.
pantheon of gods makes a decision and then
Like
sends you an email.
this is the hack too, right? So if you're somebody who
Yeah,
wants to actually speak here,
yeah,
just go look at these people's social
yeah,
profiles, find out what they're into, and like just
yeah,
tune your wording and your stuff toward that. Like
yeah,
there's
exactly.
nothing wrong with that. That's just sales.
Yeah,
And everything is sales anyway, even if people don't want to admit it. Everything is sales.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like look at these people. Marco, I follow Marco a lot on socials. I see Alistair and other folks show up
yeah,
here too. Like go look at what they're into and like, you know, scratch their back with something that's interesting to them.
yeah.
And if it's interesting to you too, what a great fit. Go do that.
Unleash AI to scrape their social media
Yeah, exactly.
and,
What are you
and
waiting
then
for?
generate sales pitch for
Make the
each one of
perfect
them.
slop sales pitch
Yeah,
that
exactly.
tries to cover all 8 people or 9 people here
Yeah,
in one go, and you did it. There you go. Boom. So UI5Con, sign up to be a speaker, attend the thing, FAQ. Maybe it's in the about where. Oh, look, here's the team too. Like, go
oh,
scrape these
cool.
people too, and like go.
Yeah, all of
Yeah, I
them.
see a couple names I recognize here too. So yeah, there you go. So that's that. I don't have anything relatively critical to say, so I don't. We don't need to linger on this one too much. Um, the second thing, are you familiar with the Syncane poetry format? No, it's
No,
got a little bit more
no.
obscure format, but what I love about it is that I do this probably once every 10 issues or whatever, maybe a little more than that, but one every 10 issues, I do ABAP poetry. And I'm gonna do ABAP Syncanes.
Oh.
So like before, AI is very good at this too. So I'm going to have AI write two of them and I will write two of them. And I will mix them in and I won't tell you who wrote which, but it'll be in my chat history if somebody hacks my chats with Claude. Um, there's like a different stanza and syllable stress pattern here, but it's the same idea that like it's a relatively short thing. And given that ABAP has like 600 and some keywords, and some of them are like many of them are colors and shapes, like you can still be very descriptive even with just ABAP keywords. That makes it pretty easy to write like a syncane about kind of whatever subject you want, especially if you cram it into like I love that like many forms of art put you in put curbs around what you can do, and that can be a key to creativity, right? Having a structure and rules and curbs tells you, okay, here is what I can do in this structure. Go do something interesting in that structure, right? So it's really cool. Spring is around the corner, so I'll do
Oh yeah. It's the
Spring Simcane poetry using
perfect
only
time
ABAP
for
keywords.
poetry. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure this is like probably the least popular articles that I do is like ABAP haikus. It's got to be the least popular
Jesus,
thing,
like again,
but
Paul with his poetry.
again with this, and guess what, guys? I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway.
If you don't like it, get your own
Yeah.
newsletter.
Coming coming soon is a coming soon is a compendium of all the ABAP poetry I've written or AI has helped me write
You should
over the years.
you should
So
publish a book and have it like nicely illustrated and published with like hardcover
yeah,
and then sell it to, I don't know, for your own
S-
personal gain
sell
or
it
to benefit some charity
sell it
or
to
whatever.
my mom who would buy it and no one else. Yeah.
Sell
And
to all the
she'd buy it and never read it, by the way, too. So that would be the
yeah.
thing.
It can become like the executive present of the year if you start early enough. So I think right now is the time
Get your
to
pre-orders in,
advertise it.
guys, for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ABBA Poetry
yeah. Every
digest.
CEO, CIO who has a copy of Paul's ABBA poetry book. If you don't have one, who are you even?
Oh,
And do like
I
super limited edition, like
yeah, yeah.
20 copies and have people like fight for it like Mad Max style
It'll
in the
it'll be
arena.
it'll be it'll be 20 copies and 18 of the copies will be sitting beside me for 6 years at my desk. And this is probably single-handedly the thing that's going to prevent us from ever IPOing is me writing about poetry and haiku and sinkane and all that kind of stuff.
We just need,
But
yeah, we just
yeah,
need to borrow a couple of sales guys from SAP. They can sell like anything.
they
Like
can sell anything. Yeah.
so guys, give us a ringy ding ding, and yeah, we'll talk.
Because another thing I love to do is I'll take like a famous Shakespeare soliloquy
Mm,
and then I'll rewrite it with like injecting like ABAP
mm,
concepts into it.
yeah.
Like to be or not to be becomes like if or end if or whatever, like stuff like that is,
To move or not to move,
yeah.
or like,
I've done Macbeth, I've done Hamlet, like just it's so fun. The language is so expressive.
mm,
It's just fun to do that stuff.
yeah.
Anyway, okay. So those are my two positive things. This one is I don't know if it's positive. It's not positive. I don't know if it's cranky or whatever. I've been kind of following along with like the Jewel for developers ABAP sort of edition stuff. And I have like I don't even know how might be where I need to borrow one of your videos and do it instead. Because I have this thing where like me as a super AI dork and like a like I I might be the person that I most personally know, if that makes any sense, who is like I'm the biggest Kool-Aid drinker I know of the AI stuff,
Yeah.
right? Um the the jewel for ABAP stuff has been announced and it's kind of creeping its way out there for I think you have to be on public cloud or whatever to get to the actual true trials of that stuff. What SAP has done with this is kind of what to me feels like a weird design choice, which is to be kind of limited in what you can do with it. But but I think also it's just weird. Maybe it's only weird for certain people, right? Because like, let's see. I probably can't find it in enough time. But I did a story in our newsletter 6 or 10 issues ago or something like that. I don't remember how long ago. About there's a bimodal distribution of like the people who like love to use AI in their
Mm,
dev and hate to use AI in their
mm,
dev, right? And there's very little in between. It's a desert in between them. There's like Kool-Aid drinkers like me, haters like a bunch of other people, and then like very few people in between. And like I kind of wonder if this ABAP Joule for ABAP is almost like constructed for the hater
mm,
side of it a little bit.
mm,
And the reason I say that is like SAP was very narrow in saying you can do this and this and this and this with these things. Whereas when I do AI aided software development with that stuff, I don't want to have like narrow boundaries. I just want to go to crazy land and do whatever I want to do. And sometimes it's narrow, and I'll write like a really involved prompt that narrows down the stuff to what I want to do. But other times, I don't want to do that. I used Claude yesterday to write me a little program that like because what I was gonna do, this is gonna sound completely crazy to you probably too, is I was gonna write a program that would use a Python sound library, and then the program would take as its input an ABAP report program and create a soundtrack of that ABAP report. So certain kinds of statements would get certain kinds of musical things, like the very top director report blah blah blah, right? That very first thing you put in a program I would have it do the conductor tap 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 on the music stand, you know, that they
mm,
do. Like that would be that. And then like the data statements would have a certain like musical shape to them. And I would make sure the whole thing was in a certain key, right? So that you could just put in your ABAP program and get like a personalized little symphony about that program,
mm.
right? That would stay in key. And so I used Claude to help me write a Python program that could take in some text and then produce like music based on that text that would stay in the same key, that would create little phrases and things like this. And like that's why I love the Claudes of the world is
Mm,
doing that. This is nothing like that, right?
mm,
This is very like you can do this or this or this or this,
mm,
and that's your boundaries. But I think that like many people, many of maybe the more of the haters, they want that more because they want to be like, but just tell me the things I can do so I know the boundaries
mm.
of where I can go with it. So like the more I yammer about this with you right now, even the more I realize this is kind of like a follow-up thing to that other the bimodal haters piece I wrote, you know,
Mm.
however long ago, was that like I feel like the SAP influence into this stuff has been like we're pointing this a little not maybe this isn't a conscious decision, but they're pointing this more at kind of the haters than the Kool-Aid drinkers.
It
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it sounds more like a structure typical for chatbots, which can only do like specific things. Because
yeah,
when you're talking to chatbot, it's not like you're talking to ChatGPT where you kind of you can prompt for various things which are not preset in advance. Chatbot's like, what do you want help with? Boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like your order, whatever. And then it only can do that. If you try to ask for anything else, it will be like, I don't know what you're
Oh.
talking about. So, I mean, to be fair, this describes just the initial release of it. But then some of the stuff like generating like rep, like some boilerplate rep stuff, it wasn't mentioned here because it's only coming up. I think I don't know if it's going to be coming soon because this post is already from February. Um, but if you look, it's like the roadmap. Well, what is in your roadmap, it's what you can already do elsewhere. So you are still kind of catching up. So your
Yeah.
roadmap is not like really, I don't know, it is a progress, but it's not really impressive.
It's like,
You're still kind of catching up to what like other similar,
yeah.
tools can do for
It,
you. And yeah, there is SAP flavor to it, which is cool, but we need to understand Joule is not going to be free completely. There's some
yeah.
functionality may become free. I don't know, but it's like and it's like cool if you get it for free, but if you have to pay for it, that needs to be much more compelling, I think,
Yeah.
tool. So yeah,
It's like it's like a roadmap, or it's like a treasure map, but at the top of the map it says the treasure was already found by somebody else.
yeah,
But
exactly.
you can get
Yeah,
there, right? You can still
yeah,
go to
yeah, yeah.
go
We're
view
just
where the treasure was
yeah,
5 months ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally walk to the treasure site,
Yeah.
and from
Because
there we might start digging. Yeah.
yeah, I did some digging too, and like there's the AI model that they use for this, at least currently, is from the beginning of 2014 or 2024, which is like that's like a billion years ago in AI, right?
Yeah.
So like it just has that it kind of has an SAP flavor to it of, you know what I mean? Of like it, I'm glad you have this, but like you already have this elsewhere for free.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
sure, you know. Yeah.
I'm kind of I don't know, it might be too early to judge, but then it also this tool is just so late to the game that it's kind of it's difficult to give it a break for it because
Yeah.
no one was holding back SAP, they could have started catching up much sooner.
Mm,
And at this point, it reminds me of my BRF Plus story from the last subject when it's like, it's really cool, but is it a game changer that SAP think it's
yeah.
gonna be at this point? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of maybe outside of ABAP because Joule is not just for ABAP development. It's also supposed to be for something else. And I don't know
Yeah.
about the other parts. Maybe there it has more to offer, but within ABAP's like I honestly it doesn't look like game changer to me. I mean, it's good effort. I mean, nice pat on the back to whoever did that. But I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
It's like
because it's yeah, it's just a little like look at the
this
predictive code completion is
this
like
honestly is the least compelling piece to me because I saw that in the demo that was part of Devtoberfest. I would turn this off as quickly as possible because honestly to me it was just annoying as hell and it was wrong on several occasions. So I mean, why even bother? It doesn't even predict correctly. So yeah, that's just annoying
just
feature.
a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I've got, but I might swap out one of those things for that one video you put out there too, because you tripped my nerd trigger on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, look at this. This one, this episode went like 40 minutes or so like
I'm
that. So,
guessing let's just more
boy,
chat in chat.
we really got punchy on this one. Woo. Okay, well, anyway, but to wrap up, thank you, Elena, for your discussion of your stuff. Everyone who's watching at this point, if you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, share, post. Even if you hate it, say that you hate it. Like, let's just talk. Let's just engage. We have fun. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. See you next time. Bye.